Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
I am so sick and tired of every single one of you out there destroying the name of Alec Bohm every single day because you're not satisfied. The disrespect to Alec Bohm and what he's capable of doing. What? He hit 2 home runs today and one side to the pull side that I couldn't believe it. Literally, at the time the barrel of the bat connected with the ball, I knew instantly it was going to be a bomb, and it was to the pull side. I mean, are you serious? All jokes aside, this is why it's totally unacceptable to be satisfied with him just being a single hitter, because that body frame, when you see the extension with his arms and his ability to drive the baseball, it could be a deadly weapon. So if you feel okay with him just plucking along the way, dabbling with first base, shame on you. You see the difference when he goes to deep center field and he's trotting around the damn bases. What a big-time night for him, and I just really hope and pray that he can look at tonight and really build from this, so now it's more a part of his game and less of the conversation, which is, what was the last time he hit a homer? Oh, against Josh Hader when they played the Milwaukee Brewers? That was the last time. Seriously, that's way too damn long. This is why I rip him apart. This is why I ridicule him. Because he needs to be more of this, and it's in him. It's not something where we are reaching. It is in him. Wow, good for Alec Bohm. And I just hope that there's a momentum swing from this, and there's a big confidence boost from this, seeing it happen 2 in the same game. And luckily, that Albert Pujols almost home run, I got nervous there. And when are we going to stop with this experiment of Brad Hand in the 9th and Sir Anthony sometimes being in the 8th? Why? Why do we have to do this? Why do we have to overcomplicate things when it's so obvious that Sir Anthony Dominguez should be the guy? Look, I don't know why my tone is this right now. They just won a huge game. It's game 1 of the series. The first thing I'm doing is ripping Alec Bohm for not being this more consistently, and the way that they go along with their bullpen at the moment, when their bullpen slides in to top 10 in Major League Baseball. And then, of course, since obviously dating back to some time in June, they've been really magnificent. So, shame on me. But I'm just pointing out to you things that I note and things that do, matter to me deep down inside. Zack Wheeler, another great effort. Not surprising at all. 7 scoreless. 0 earned runs, and only 1 walked batter. There were a couple situations that I highlighted that was magnificent. The first one was in the 4th inning. There was a slider down, and he got a big swing and a miss with a man on third base. Boom, gets out of a little bit of a funk there. And then in the 6th inning, you had Wheeler high and inside, 97 mile per hour. Bang! High up and inside. You could do absolutely nothing with it. And gets Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt was earlier in the 6th inning, but he gets him on a nasty curveball as well. So some really sharp pitching out of Zack Wheeler, and this comes after the fact that he slipped and somewhat had a bit of discomfort, maybe, is the best way to describe it, coming off of the mound, trying to make a play with the ball that happened to be hit towards the right side. He stumbled a bit, and you could see him kind of limping a little bit back to the dugout. It was the 3rd out, so they had plenty of time to monitor the situation properly. And then, of course, when you saw what he did after that, Everything was all right. He was just great and dandy. And you know how big of a series this is. And sometimes it's about catching teams at the right time, or unfortunately for the Cardinals, they're catching the Phillies at the wrong time. And I think what's going on now, not to downplay how awesome this is for the Fightins, but the Cardinals, you're just catching a team during a little bit of a situation for them, but you have to maximize that. They weren't able to score. They weren't capable of crossing home plate at all. He had some good defensive plays out there. And here's a little hat tip to Rob Thompson. Not that this isn't managerial decisions 101, but I don't know, to finish out the game with Nick Castellanos out there, even though he did make a couple plays of right field today. Matt Vierling makes the final catch. You just never know. That's all I'm going to say. You just never know. Not that this is a breaking news type of move out of Rob Thompson. So what else do I have here for you? I have Wainwright going 9 innings pitched. You know, there's just something to be said about watching him still do it at this level. It's pretty ridiculous. He goes 9 innings. You know, he doesn't walk any batters. He only allowed 5 hits. So you just had yourself a good old pitching duel for quite some time. And then, of course, with the rain delay, you get worried that when it's an 8:10 start and there's a rain delay, now it's getting pushed back to 9 o'clock. You're like, oh, geez, this is going to be a late one. I'm not going to be able to hit the sheets until about 3 a.m., 2 a.m. What if this is a grind? What if this is a 4-hour game? So with all due respect here, we kicked this puppy off at around midnight for the post-game show, so it could have been a lot worse. You just had your pitchers grooving. I think the Phils finished with 5 hits, as I just mentioned, but you had 6 hits for the Cardinals, so it wasn't one of those action-packed, wild amount of base runners, long innings. Yeah, the one inning where Zack Wheeler had the balk, which was strange. Another strange situation was where JT Realmuto, it was the most obvious strike in the world, but he just missed the ball completely, which then freaked out the umpire behind the dish. So it's called a ball instead of a strike, and the ball ends up going towards the backstop a little bit to the right of the plate. Phil's got out of that with no damage, but there was some weirdness in regards to that part of it all. So I don't know if the balk played a little bit of role in the spot or JT, whatever. I mean, there wasn't much action. That was your action. I'm sitting here talking about a balk and JT Realmuto missing a damn pitch. I mean, that's really what you had, other than the electricity with some of these strikeouts. And then, of course, Alec Bohm. And obviously, that's what we have to really, really focus on, is what is next? Are we having another 1-month drought until Alec Bohm does it again? He does seem really smooth, though, with that extension. You look at that pull side hit, I will lose sleep replaying it over and over and over in my head. And not only that, I'll probably throw up the Broads Media Twitter account because, of course, we post the in-game highlights, which you should absolutely go to Twitter, hit the follow button there, and toss us a nice little how do you do. But that extension is probably as great as I have seen it out of him ever in his tenure here. So 2 in 1 game. Please. Every little detail of someone stepping up their game is so massive. If it's Derek Hall helping out from the left side of the plate, if it's Didi being a hair away from hitting a home run, not tonight, but in the last game against the Nationals, hoping that means something. Alec Bohm, please. Power goes a long way compared to the singles. Chris in the chat says, Wheeler is the absolute best. Just when you think he can't be any better, he somehow gets even better. And yeah, if I'm going to be honest, I didn't know if last year he could follow that up, because it was not eye-popping, but he raised to a level that I didn't know he had. And that's because of his injury history in New York. I thought you'd get a damn good pitcher. I didn't think you'd be getting an NL Cy Young category style of pitcher. So when he throws the most innings, and he throws a lot last year, and then, of course, the beginning of this season was very bizarre for him. What Zack Wheeler do you have? And I'll tell you what, you're right. It's absolutely wild to think that he followed up last year with this aggressiveness, with this mentality, with this approach, and then at times it's, man, what do you got to say about the 97 or or it's the slider, or it's the curveball, or he's pitching to contact. He gets a nice, easy ground ball. Didi Gregorius makes a play at shortstop, or Alec Bohm makes a play over at third base. They just get the simple outs, and within a handful of pitches or so, he's walking to the dugout. Or if he does get into trouble, don't worry about it. I'll squeeze my way out of this. Hey, there's a man on third base. Don't worry about it. It's the fourth inning. Watch this slider down and away. Or that one was down and inside, but watch what I can do. Gets a swing and miss. And that's all she wrote. Don't worry about it. I'm in awe. Seth says, so you're going to rip Alec Bohm, the highest average on the team. Yeah, because he... No, I ripped Didi. No, I ripped Didi. So to lay out the whole entire comment, Seth says, you're going to rip Alec Bohm, the highest average on the team besides Bryce. Yeah, I don't value singles all day. For not hitting homers, but you don't rip Didi. Make it make sense. I ripped Didi. I don't think he's doing well enough. That's what it is. And it comes down to, and I say this all the time, it's really not that hard. Didi isn't playing well enough. I don't think Didi sucks. I've seen his track record speak for itself. He's been in Major League Baseball for a long period of time for a reason. So when someone does have the history that they do, I give them more of a benefit of the doubt because this guy has made it to this point for quite some time. He definitely does have an injury history now, and he is in the back nine of his career, so it does change a little bit. But I've seen him succeed for so long that, yeah, at sometimes you get a longer leash when that's the case. With Alec Bohm, over this time, I haven't seen enough power in his career for me to feel comfortable with his lack of power. It's not that hard, and honestly, it's not that outrageous. So, yeah, out of a third baseman that stinks defensively and is supposed to be a power bat, the fact that prior to this point, it's weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Josh Hader. We're going back to Josh Hader with his last run. Yes. There is a difference between the two, but I still rip Didi for it not being enough. If you've been listening, it's been very clear. I need power, a left-handed power bat like Didi. Him not doing that, it sucks. It stings. It's awful. I need more. Both is very true. Nothing wrong with that at all. Riot thinks that Didi just sucks, but he has great connections. No, he's playing not his greatest baseball right now. That doesn't mean he just absolutely sucks. But anyway, tonight's not about Didi Gregorius. I don't feel like getting into a screaming match about Didi Gregorius. There's always been hatred towards him in this city since last year, and I don't understand it fully, but it is what it is. I'm not going to waste my time tonight on that. To say that Didi has only had 3 good seasons in 11 years is absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. But to each their own. To each their own. Let's see what else we have. Hold This L believes that this is the 2019 National vibes. Strong top of the rotation and a bullpen that got off to a horrible start, but then eventually figured it out. I can't say, as we're in the early stages of July, that this team is what the Nationals were when they went on an amazing run. I do feel way more confident in their bullpen at the moment, but just like when this is me just being honest with you, just like when they sucked earlier, I knew they weren't that bad. Are they this great? I'm just being honest. I got to keep it 100 and play that objectivity view here. Are they this phenomenal? I think Sir Anthony Dominguez is as a one-man show. I think Brad Hand is a savvy vet that can do some things. But collectively, are you going to get this insane run through the whole end of July and through the whole end of August? I hope so. I'm rooting for it. I'm cheering for it. It's not impossible, but is there a middle ground? That's all I'm asking. I think that's a fair question. Let's see. I think that's sort of all I have. Here's a a quote, Adam Wainwright is the first pitcher to go 9 innings and take the loss since Adam Wainwright last season. Also versus the Phillies, also against starting pitcher Zack Wheeler. How about that for a quote and for a stats? Claren wants to know if I think Rob Thompson's staying as the manager long-term. I don't know how he'd be losing his job with the team performing the way that it's performing. If we're going to be studying what they've done to this point, right? They win a lot of baseball games, and a lot of people feel comfortable with him being the leader of the crew. And how many times have we screamed, speaking of the bullpen under Joe Girardi, this guy's unavailable, that guy's unavailable, that player warmed up this many times, so he can't pitch this. I mean, I really haven't seen that be the problem since the change occurred. There was one time where a couple people warmed up a few days in a row. So Rob said, nope, you're not even close to being available tonight, so just sit down. And they ended up closing with, was that the game where Bellotti closed? I believe it was Bellotti who closed that game. But that's the only one that stands out to me. So the usage of the guys, the communication with the guys, the belief in the guys, and the guys that have the belief in him, I don't know how you lose a job when the team performs this way underneath of you, you know? But we're going to head out of here. But before we do, look, injuries happen. And when you need someone who is going to fight for the justice you deserve, you call Zach Green, my friend over at Javerbaum Law Firm. Zach Green is an experienced personal injury attorney who will personally handle your case if you or a loved one have been injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or if you've been the victim of medical malpractice. Consultations are always free, and he can be reached at 609-790-3895. Zach grew up in the Philadelphia area and has a deep understanding of the personality of its sports fans. He is a 4-for-4 guy who will stand up for your rights and fight for you. When you are hurt, you need a lawyer that is not afraid to go toe-to-toe with the insurance companies to get you the compensation you deserve. If you've been hurt, call Zach at 609-790-3895 or email him at zgreen@lawjw.com. You can visit his website down below in the description. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. If you're new to the channel, subscribe button, thumbs up button. Thank you guys. SeatGeek, promo code BROAD gets you $20 off of your purchase. And then lastly, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, @Broads Media. Catch you guys all over the weekend.